Wouldn't you love a 1-900 number where you could pay money to hear a message from me? Sorry, you can't do that. But back in the 80s, you could hear messages from some of your favorite stars, from rock stars to movie stars to even wrestling stars. Let's take a look. Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back at you. We're going to go back to the 80s to talk hotline telephone numbers. Now, at the end of the 80s into the early 90s, they started getting more risque. I think they dropped the 900, 967. What was it? Not, you probably know that, where they were like dirty hotlines or meet local singles and stuff like that. But in the 80s, it was called to talk to your favorite rock star, your movie star, talk to, there was a movie coming out. It probably had a hotline to it. There was all kinds and some really wacky ones out there. And I thought we'd take a look at some of the commercials for these numbers. Sadly, a lot of what was on the thing when you called it, they're not on YouTube, sadly. You can only get the commercial. I would love to hear some of those. And some of them you can leave a message to some of your favorite singers or actors. Like there's one where you can leave a message to Tiffany. Remember her? The mall princess of the 80s? Well, if she was the mall princess, that means Debbie Gibson was the mall queen. I'll let you decide which one you like better, Tiffany or Debbie Gibson. I was more of a Debbie Gibson fan. Debbie Gibson looked like the kind of girl you bring home to mother. Tiffany looked like the type of girl you would get behind the bowling alley. Anyway, let's get on with this. There's some really crazy ones out there, and we're going to start with Star Wars. It's a little different. Back in 1980, they were getting news out about the new movie, Empire Strikes Back, and you could call this number, and it was a 1-800 number, a free number, where you could get the latest news. It wasn't really news. It kind of tell you about the movie, get you kind of pumped up for the movie. One week you call it's Mark Hamill, next week you call it's Carrie Fisher, and then it's Darth Vader, then it's Han Solo. I've done a whole video on the making of these and listening to them and all, but let's check it out real quick.
Till I ran into Ben Kenobi and Luke Skywalker, I had myself a pretty good little operation. They wanted to ride to Alderaan, and they're willing to pay enough so I didn't have to ask any questions. Now I'm in the middle of a rebellion. I'm spending half my time dodging Imperial ships and the other half avoiding Her Holiness. Not only that, but Jabba the Hutt's got a price on my head, and he's put Boba Fett on my trail. Something tells me it's not going to get any better when the Empire strikes back.
There you go. That's a lot of fun, man. I've made a lot of phone calls calling that. In fact, a lot of people call that number where the phone lines went down. I did a whole video on that. You'll want to check that out. I'll link to it somewhere at the end of this video. This square, that square, who knows? But it's going to be a square. But let's jump in and listen to some of the more lesser known ones, or ones that's not Star Wars. And how about this one right here? It was one thing to be a wrestling fan. It was a whole nother thing if you were a Hulk Hogan fan. That's right. If you were part of Hulkmania, you loved Hulk Hogan. I mean, let's be honest. Hulk Hogan, especially in the 80s, he was the Elvis Presley of wrestling. So let's check out his hotline.
Hey, Hulkamaniacs, you proved to the Hulkster that you're a true Hulkamaniac by renting my new movie, Suburban Commando, one of the greatest movies the Hulkster's ever appeared in. Now I'm going to tell you about another big hit, the Hulk Hogan WWF Wrestling Challenge Game. By dialing 1-900-454-HULK, you can hear my daily power-packed messages, giving you the latest scoops on the WWF. Plus, you can play my Hulk Hogan WWF Wrestling Challenge Game, where I'll be your manager for the match of your life as you wrestle against the biggest and the baddest dudes in the WWF, like Ric Flair and The Undertaker and others. You could win and be eligible for a drawing for a great prize, including a grand prize and all-expense-paid trip to meet me in person. Remember, the cost of the call is $1.49 for the first minute and 99 cents for each additional minute. If you're under 18, make sure you have your mom or your dad's permission before calling. What you gonna do when Suburban Commando and then Hulk Hogan WWF Wrestling Challenge Game run wild on you?
Ooh, that was a long one. That was like 1 minute, because that one didn't air on TV. They might have had one that like it aired on TV, but that was the one found on this VHS of his hit movie, Urban Commando. Was that the name of it?
By renting my new movie, Suburban Commando.
Oh, Suburban Commando. Is that what I said? I don't know. I forgot what I said now. Anyway, he knew people were going to rent it. Even he knew no one was going to buy that. So if you rented it, you got that ad right there, and you could call the number, and you could hear from Hulk Hogan. Now, if you were into wrestling, but you wasn't into Hulk Hogan, you were into other ones. Maybe you were into Ted DiBiase. Maybe you were into the $1 Million Man. Maybe you were even into Randy Savage. Oh, yeah! And that's a bad Randy Savage, I know. But check out this WWF hotline.
Calling all WWF fans, the WrestleMania 7 hotline is here. 1-900-909-WWF7. It's the only number to call for WrestleMania 7 updates, results, and exclusive interviews straight from Hulk Hogan, Sergeant Slaughter, The Ultimate Warrior, and other WWF stars. But kids, before you dial, ask your parents and then dial 1-900-909-WWF7.
Ooh, yeah, call the WrestleMania 7 hotline right now. Ooh, yeah, dig it.
Now, what if wrestling wasn't your thing? You're like, I don't want to see two men half naked, sweating, rubbing up on each other. I don't know who would want to see that. But let's say you didn't want to see that, and you wanted to hear your favorite pop star. What was she up to? What if you just had to know, what was Paula Abdul up to? What if you wanted to leave a message to Paula Abdul that she would hear? She wasn't going to hear it. Trust me, she wasn't going to hear it. On these commercials, they always tell you that they're going to play the message for her. Somebody won't even say that you'll get access to their private phone number. No, you're not. Bad thing is, kids back then, we fell for it. A lot of us did fall for it. We're like, come on, Mom, I want to call Paula Abdul. I know, I want to hear what drunk stuff she has to say. But straight up, let me tell you, this is how you would call Paula Abdul.
She is Paula Abdul. She's the biggest star in pop music today.
And she's waiting for your call.
Call her at 1-900-909-1800.
What's her secret for success? What is she really like?
Call Paula now, 1-900-909-1800. Just $2 the first minute, 45 cents each extra minute. Kids, ask your parents' permission. Call and learn how to leave your personal message for the girl with 2 #1 hit singles in a row. Paula Abdul. She will get your message. We promise.
Man, I sure would pay $2 a minute and then 49 cents every minute after that to know the secrets of Paula Abdul. And I think we all know the secrets of Paula Abdul. That secret lies at the end of a beer bottle. Anyway, let's move on. Here's one that's not a pop singer. She's not an actress. What is she famous for? Being a hoe bag. I think I got the name right. There was a couple of girls around the same time that got in trouble messing around with preachers. Jim Baker and Jimmy Swaggart, they were all hooking up with loose women, and this loose woman tried to make a career out of it. I mean, she got pretty famous. I remember my dad bought the issue of her on the cover of Playboy. He was like, I just got to see her interview. I mean, read her interview. Come on, Dad. Well, you know what you're doing. And believe me, when you were at work, I took a look also. Let's check out her hotline.
I'm Jessica Hahn, and when people hear my name, they think of headlines, scandal, and controversy. But very few people know my side of the story, and almost no one knows how I really feel. Now I'm ready to reveal the secrets I have held for so long and share my most personal thoughts with you. You'll be shocked and amazed at what I have to say about Jessica Hahn.
Jessica Hahn tells all. Call 1-900-568-6868. $2 a minute.
Whew, Jessica Hahn's gonna tell all. She ain't telling you nothing. Believe me, she's gonna tell all. She's gonna put it in a book, or she's gonna do it for a paid interview. She's not gonna do it on a phone line where somebody pays her about $1 a minute. It's not gonna happen. But let's talk about something a little scary. What if you could call your grandpa and hear him tell you ghost stories? Well, you couldn't do that. That was probably been a big hit, but you couldn't have done that. One thing, everybody's got different grandpas, so it wouldn't work out. But who is the universal grandpa? The universal scary grandpa? You know, Grandpa Munster. That's right. I know. For years, I thought it was Grandpa Monster. When I was a little kid, I would call it the Monsters. And I was like, what? It's not the Monsters? I'd be so confused. But anyway, let's get on with this. Grandpa Munster, way after the prime of the television show, he wanted you to call and hear ghostly stories.
Hiya, kids. It's me, your friend Grandpa. I gotta tell you, I am starting a new club, and I want you to join. It's called the Junior Vampires of America. I mean, you'll hear scary monster stories. Now, to call, you gotta ask your parents' permission and call this phone number, 1-900-909-4300. You'll hear all about my monster friends, learn how to get a free vampire patch, and a list of special vampire tricks and secrets. So call 1-900-909-4300. Learn how to scare your friends, even yourself. Join Grandpa's Junior Vampires of America Club, and I will make you a junior vampire.
Hey kids, call 1-900-909-4300. That's 1-900-909-4300 to hear Grandpa's scary stories and join the Junior Vampires Club. Just $2 the first minute, 45 cents each additional. Ask Mom or Dad first.
I know to be a vampire, you gotta suck some blood. I hate to ask what you gotta suck to be a junior vampire. Well, that's a look at the Munsters, or Grandpa Munster, I should say, but we're not done yet, and it's gonna get really wacky. You want to see the last one, that's for sure, because I don't even understand what it is. But until we get there, let's go back to a pop princess, and it's one we talked about earlier, Tiffany. Did you have the hots for Tiffany? You did? Well, if you did, you probably spent a lot of money calling this number here, but I hope you got your parents' permission if you did.
Just say from the one who loves you, baby.
Hi, this is Tiffany, and I'm so excited you can reach me now on my private phone line. Just call 1-900-909-TIFF. I have so many things I'd like to tell you. You're my friend, so call me. That's 1-900-909-TIFF. And if you're one of my lucky callers, you'll get to talk to me live, one-on-one. Remember my number, 1-900-909-TIFF. Under 18, get permission before calling. $2 first minute, 45 cents each additional minute. Call me, okay?
1-900-909-TIFF. How can you forget that one? Call Tiff. She says she gets to talk to random callers. I give it. She might answer one call, maybe once a week or something. It was going to be really random. I doubt anybody. I bet nobody talked to her. Let me know in the comment section if you call this number and you got to talk to Tiffany. I really doubt that. She was busy singing at a mall. But you think, oh, that's just something for female pop singers. Gangster rappers wouldn't do it. Well, you'll be surprised. Gangster rappers did it. And who's probably the gangster of all gangster rappers? You guessed it. Will Smith and his DJ Jazzy Jeff. Believe it or not, they did a hotline. Yeah, they were sellouts.
This is DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Hey, yo, my name is The Prince.
Stop whatever you're doing.
But then listen to this.
Look, we don't mean to bust your bubble, but girls of the world ain't nothing but trouble.
So girls, if your boyfriend's a jerk, here's what you do.
Just pick up the phone. We got advice for you.
So wanna rock the house? There's still time left. Just dial 1-900-909-JEFF.
$2 the first minute, 45 cents each additional minute. Children, get your parents' permission before you dial.
Well, at least on the phone number, they used the word Jeff and not Will or Smith or Fresh or Prince, because he always seems to get the back burner. So I like that. But it's kind of odd seeing the NWA of gangster rap doing a hotline commercial. It just doesn't sit right with me. Now, you could have called horror star gangster rappers or pop stars. Well, let's say you were a metalhead and you wanted to call a metalhead. Well, who would you call? You would call Warrant.
Audio Entertainment presents Warrant.
Yeah, we like to rock and roll. We like to do a lot of other things, too.
Call the Warrant Rock Line.
We'll give you the warm, hard facts on our personal lives. Our fans always come first.
Just $2 the first minute, 45 cents each additional minute. Kids, ask your parents' permission. You'll get the latest on tours, videos.
And what town we blew up last.
Call 1-900-909-5100 for a new Warrant message every day. Learn how you can leave your personal message for Warrant.
Or anything else you've got on your mind.
Call the Warrant Rock Line.
Ooh, get the warm, hard facts of their personal life. Ooh, you're going to get some really risky stuff in that one. Sure, you're going to get probably tour dates, a way to buy their merchandise. They're going to try to sell you something or find a way for you to buy their latest album or go see them in concert. Now, here's a bad edit because I forgot to do Warrant. I added this one later when I was editing the video, but I couldn't leave Warrant out. I couldn't wait for a part 2. I said, we got to talk about Warrant. So here's a bad edit, and let's continue with the video. But you know what does sit right with me? Calling 2 young boys, both named Corey. Yep, Corey Haynes and Corey Feldman have their own hotline. Man, I bet this thing made a lot of money because if you were a girl in the 80s, you loved one of the Coreys, if not both of the Coreys. If you bought a Teen Bop magazine or whatever it was called, they were going to be on the cover. And I bought a lot of those magazines, not because they were on the cover, because Alyssa Milano was on the cover, and it was promised to have a pin-up poster inside. But sometimes it wasn't really a good poster. So I know about these guys, because they were always getting in my way of checking out Alyssa Milano. Let's check out this cringy ad.
Guess what? Haim and Corey Feldman are giving out their personal numbers. If you call 1-900-909-3700, you can listen to their private phone messages and get their personal number where you can leave them a message of your own. $2 the first minute, 45 cents each additional minute. Ask your parents before you call. 1-900-909-3700.
If you call me right now, I'll give you my private number. You call that number, and you'll hear a recording, and I'll give you my personal number if you call that, and we'll wrap.
Get their personal number. You know there's some fool out there believed it, called it over and over and over again. Whew, wasn't me. Now, what if you needed help with your video game? Now, I never called this one, but I did call Nintendo. Nintendo had their own hotline number, which was a little better. Any game you wanted, they would tell you how to solve it, how to get past the balls or whatever. I use this thing too much. I'm surprised I didn't get killed when my parents saw the phone bill. But there was another one that was just, you call it there, give them one of 100 games. Yeah, they only had 100 games in their system. But that was a lot back then. This was the early days of Nintendo. And without other systems really being a competitor. I don't think you could call this number and be like, hey, can you tell me how to solve Raiders of the Lost Ark for the 2600? And if they did do that one, whew, you would make a fortune on that one. Because that one would take you about 60 minutes to explain that game to somebody. And they would probably have to call back with a follow-up question. But let's look at the generic video game hint hotline.
Call Hot Hints for the best Nintendo strategies.
Oh, I give up.
Don't give up. Call 1-900-HOT-HINTS and supercharge your game.
Cool. I can select all my favorite games.
There's hundreds of action-packed hints full of secret passwords on all the latest Nintendo games.
Hot Hints is fast, fun, and it's $1.65 a minute. Now I have the power.
Ask your parents before calling.
Ooh, secret passwords. Why did they always make the password so long and complicated? I never understood about video games in the 80s and I guess into the 90s. Why? It was, some of them was letters and shapes and numbers and exclamation marks. Some of them you couldn't even read. It was crazy. Why couldn't it just be a simple word that you could remember? Try to write it down. You're like, is that a 0 or an O? Is that an I or an L? It was very confusing. And did you see the cartoon guy? I don't know, but it reminds me of that superhero cartoon on Saturday Night Live. You know, the one that had the penis car? You know what I'm talking about. I would tell you the name of it, but I'll fumble up saying the word, so I'm not even going to try. But let's get back to something scary. We looked at scary Grandpa Munster, but this one is the next level. I mean, this is like the Grandpa Munster if he was a child murderer. We're talking Freddy Krueger.
I'm Freddy Krueger, and I've got a new recipe for terror. Dial this number now for Freddy's favorites. Take a half a cup of horror, a spoonful of fright, and a pinch of the bizarre. Then bring to a boil for gruesome accounts of hideous misadventure, torturous tales, and agonizing anecdotes. The scariest stories in town.
$2 the first minute, 45 cents each additional minute. Children, get your parents' permission before you dial.
Somehow I bet those scary stories wasn't too scary. And I guess that's supposed to be Freddy. It looked like him in the video, but to me that didn't really sound like Freddy. Did it sound like Freddy to you? Maybe it's the video, but it didn't seem like Robert Englund to me. Because I know Robert Englund's voice because I used to watch V. He was great on V. But let's look at one more. And I had to put this one on here. It's not a movie related. It's not a singer related. It's just so weird. And honestly, I saw the commercial before I downloaded it. And I was like, I don't even understand what it is. It's the crying hotline. At first, I thought it was just a number you call and hear people crying. I was like, that's creepy. Well, who would want to hear people crying? But I think it's just a number and you would cry. If you had a bad day, you just cry to the number. I don't know if you talk to counselors. Here it is.
What makes people all over America break down and cry like this? Call 1-900-9099-CRY and hear it for yourself. $2 for the first minute, 45 cents each additional minute. If you're under 18, ask your parents before you call. 1-900-9099-CRY.
It's kind of strange. You're like, why do you want to cry to this thing? But then again, that's what the young kids are doing on TikTok, I guess. They're crying because someone was mean to them on the internet. Anyway, that's a look at the 900 wacky hotline numbers. I wish we had some of I would love to hear some of these messages left. I bet they're really funny. You know, whoever worked these hotlines were laughing their balls off at this. But I wish we had more than just the commercials. But sadly, that looks like it. But let me know in the comments below. Did you call any of these numbers? Were you addicted? Did you get a spanking because you charged up your mom's phone bill? Be honest in the comments below. And until the next video, thumbs down on my content. Subscribe to the channel. We'll talk again soon.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.